What's going on YouTube? In this video I'm going to tell you why I decided to move to southern Utah. So there's a backstory. About 6 years ago, my corporate job brought me from Chicago to Fayetteville, North Carolina. And if you've ever lived in Fayetteville, North Carolina, or if you know about Fort Bragg, if you ever were a member of the military, perhaps you know it as 82nd or Fort Bragg. Well, it's a beautiful place. Well, beautiful may be a stretch due to high crime rate and overall just, the East Coast is not for everybody. So after spending 4 years at Fort Bragg, it was time for me to do something new. It was time for me to relocate, and I started looking for openings across the country. I only had a few goals in mind. One was to be as far away from Fayetteville as possible while remaining in continental United States. The second goal was to never experience another winter or snow again, because I lived in Chicago for most of my life and snow is an absolute no for me. And the third requirement was a clean, family-oriented community. Now, with the requirement for beautiful weather came the requirement for beautiful roads. I really enjoy riding motorcycles, and I couldn't live in another part of the country like Midwest or Florida, for instance, where everything is flat and the roads are straight for a really long period of time. So I was really drawn to the Southwest, and I wasn't sure where I wanted to end up in the Southwest. So I applied for every position that the current company that I was working for had available. They had a number of positions open in Vegas, and I had some friends in Vegas. But knowing what I know now, I'm really glad that I didn't end up in Vegas. So I locked out, nailed an interview, and secured a position in sunny St. George. Prior to securing that position, I knew absolutely nothing about St. George, knew nothing about southern Utah, and I had no idea what I was getting myself into. So I turned to YouTube and the internet, and of course I found nothing. There was very little information available all across YouTube about southern Utah, about St. George or Utah in general, and having never stepped a foot into that state before, I saw an obvious need to fill in that niche, which is greatly a big reason for the existence of this channel and all the content that I produce. So if you're thinking about moving to southern Utah or you want to learn more about this community, make sure to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell next to it. We try to upload videos that give you a good feel for this community and more or less fill in the need that I had prior to moving here. So the second that I knew that I secured an opportunity in southern Utah, I made arrangements to pack up my entire apartment into 2 U-Haul U-Pods. If you ever use that service, it's super convenient. At the time, all I had was a Corvette and a motorcycle. I didn't have any serious means of transportation that would get all of my belongings from the East Coast all the way out west, so that was the best way to go. My journey to southern Utah was absolutely magnificent, and the most important part of that was that Fayetteville was finally in my rearview mirror. So fast forward 6 years later, I now have a beautiful wife, 2 beautiful bulldogs, and an awesome career in real estate. My corporate career didn't hold up, unfortunately. After spending nearly a decade with that company, it would have forced me to leave this beautiful area, but I fell in love with my wife, we bought a house here, and I refused to leave southern Utah, and now we both help people buy, sell, and invest in real estate.
My husband has been moving his whole life every couple years since he was little, so he's not much of a planner. Me, on the other hand, I am a very calculated person. I like to know exactly what my next move is going to be. I've been born and raised here in southern Utah. I've lived here my whole life. I can tell you all that you'd like to know about this area. So if you're thinking about moving here and you want to get a better feel for the area, here are some reasons why southern Utah may be a good fit for you.
St. George is located in the southwest corner of Utah, just minutes away from Arizona and Nevada border. We are about 2 hours north of Las Vegas and 4 hours south of Salt Lake City. Living in southern Utah never gets old. At all times, you are just a day's trip away from amazing nature, hiking, biking, off-roading, and snowboarding. And if outdoor activities is not your thing, you can always take a short drive to Las Vegas for some nightlife entertainment, grab dinner, and catch a show. The weather alone is a good reason to move to southern Utah. Typically, St. George features a dry and mild climate with nearly 255 sunny days per year. The hot season lasts for 3.5 months from June 2nd to September 17th, with an average daily high temperature of 92 degrees. The hottest day of the year is July 11th, with an average high of 102 degrees and a low of 76 degrees. The cold season lasts for 3.1 months, from November 19th to February 21st, with an average daily high temperature of 62 degrees. The coldest day of the year is January 5th, with an average low of 31 degrees and high of 52 degrees. I'll provide a link with more in-depth weather information in the description below this video. According to bestplaces.net, crime is ranked on a scale of 1 being low crime to 100 being high crime. St. George violent crime is 11.2, while the U.S. average is 22.7. St. George property crime is 29.9, while the U.S. average is 35.4. Southern Utah in general is an incredibly clean place to live. There are no known bad parts of town or communities around here that have the reputation for a high crime rate. You also won't find graffiti on the buildings or a large homeless population. I will provide the link to the article citing crime rate stats in this video in the description below. According to bestplaces.net, St. George Cost of Living Index is at a 109.8, with 100 being the baseline. Cost of living is composed of several factors: cost of groceries, healthcare, housing, median home cost, utilities, and transportation. While St. George has a slightly higher cost of living than an average community its size across the nation, majority of our clients are moving here because of higher quality of living from other desirable cities in the U.S. All things are relative. For instance, San Diego, California is at a cost index of 160%, with housing more expensive by 112%. Portland is 26.3 more expensive than St. George, with an overall index of 130%, and housing is 38% more expensive. St. George may not be the most affordable place to live in the United States, but it supports a world-class standard of living with perfect weather, low crime rate, and a great location at a fraction of a cost when compared to other highly desirable cities in the United States.
Thank you so much for taking the time to tune in to check out this video. If you've enjoyed this video, please let us know by giving it a thumbs up. If we've left any of your questions unanswered, please be sure to drop them in the comments below this video. Let's get a conversation started. And of course, if you're thinking about moving into this area and would like to know more, don't hesitate to give us a call. We absolutely love receiving your questions.